Okay, thanks everybody for taking a look. This is all about the Fisher and Paykel DEGX1 dryer, just simply not blowing enough hot air. And this is going to be a new format I'm trying. It's called a Techno-Quickie, and hopefully things move quickly in this. So if you need to pause the video, feel free to get ready to pause the video on some of the more complex slides that I've got. All right, so with that, what's the issue really going on with this dryer? So we're getting really slow drying times. The heat is on, but it's really not coming up to full temperature like you would expect. And many times the clothes never really get perfectly dry. So, that's really some of the symptoms that we're seeing with this. Moving on, let's get into the details of how I troubleshot and fix this problem.
Okay guys, so this is the Fisher Paykel DEGX1 dryer, and I've been having problems with this thing actually drying correctly. It wasn't getting real hot. It was kind of in between, and it was taking a long time to dry, and it just wasn't working quite right. So I've had this thing for about 15 years, and I've been using it nonstop, and really haven't done a whole lot of maintenance to it. And so one of the things I found out after I started digging into this thing was that this little device right here that goes over this area right here, actually it goes into this area right here, and it covers that area, and then the lint filter goes right in here. Your sensors are down at the bottom, and they poke through this whole area. And anyways, I took this off. There's only one screw to take out it out, and I found out that this was just packed full of lint in here. I had never checked this thing in the 15 years I've been using it, and it was just packed solid. All these little holes, both front and back, were almost completely clogged, and I really think that's where most of my problems lie. So I'm going to go ahead and check these two sensors. They seem to be working okay, but I'm going to go ahead and check them.
So at this point, you're probably asking, what did he do to get into this dryer, and how did he take it apart? It's really pretty simple to get into this Fisher Paykel. You've got two screws on the main lid up here that you have to remove. They're under white rubber bumpers. And to get the front off, there are two screws here and here on the front, and you'll have to lift the front away. Now that front panel, again, has the two screws here and here. It also engages with these little red tabs that go up and down the side panels. So just be aware of that you're going to have to deal with those. But overall, this thing's really easy to get apart. All right, so what did I do that didn't work? So when I first started looking at this problem, I thought for sure I had a heating element that had burned out, or maybe one of the sensors had tripped. And you can see on this that the heating element box is down in the bottom of the unit, and it blows air in from the left to the right. I found on the grids that there was a lot of dust and debris, so I cleaned that off. But looking at the coils, they looked like they were in pretty good shape. Anyways, to get this box out, there's two tabs that have screws. You simply remove those screws and you lift this box out. First thing you're going to notice is that there's a lot of dust and debris down at the bottom. I went ahead and sucked all that out with a vacuum. Excuse me. And then the next thing I did was take that box apart, and I'll show you how to do that here in a second. But inside the box, you've got your heating coils, the main heating coils, and where I've got these red arrows are the places where you'll want to take a resistance measurement. One coil will be in the 10 ohm range, and the other coil will be in the 30 ohm range. Okay, so if you take a look at the box over here on the left or the right-hand side, you'll notice there are three sensors. You'll want to take a measurement on each of these sensors, and I'll show you doing that later on. But if you take a look at the main overheating sensor, if you will, it's a resettable style. So if this little button is popped out, well, that's probably your problem right there. So that could be one of the problems. It was not on this particular dryer. All right, so the other things I did were to take readings across these coils. Again, one coil was in the 30 ohm range, the other coil was in the 10 ohm range, and those checked out. They physically looked like they were in very good shape. Here's an example of how you would take a reading across each one of these sensors. Simply put a probe into one side of the sensor and on the other side of the sensor, and you should be reading 0 ohms like you see in the picture. The exhaust sensor, which you can't actually get to very easily, it's in the back of the unit in the exhaust plenum. That one, you do need to get a reading of about 12 kiloohms at room temperature. So to do that, I've shown a schematic here that has the exhaust temperature sensor. It plugs into the sensor module, which is at the top of the dryer itself. And I'm showing that off to the right here and under my ohm meter right here as well. And you can take this little plug off the top of that, and you can measure that sensor from the control unit itself. So again, it shows about 12 kiloohms on that sensor. So I know that sensor is in pretty good shape. Really not a problem there. Okay, so the last thing I did was to spray all this down with CRC electronics cleaner. The control module, which is right on the side of
dryer lifts out with 2 tabs. So here's one tab right here, and the other tab is on, of course, the other side, which you press on, and then you can just pull this straight up. You'll want to disconnect this cable to be able to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back in. Okay, so I've removed the sensors, and these 2 little connectors connect into those sensors. Now, if you take a look up top here, this is where the sensors actually connect into the control board. So you've got to make sure that those connectors are actually connecting with the control board. So I decided to go ahead and clean the sensors off. They were pretty cruddy and dusty and just had junk all over them. That could probably cause some problems. So I would recommend cleaning these off, as well as cleaning everything inside of here of any of the dust and lint.
Okay, so I got all the dust and lint cleaned out of that machine, and after doing that, I put it all back together and found that it's working great. Really, I think it came down to the clogged up lint on both the intake of the heater module, and then, of course, on the output of the whole drum assembly. I really think that's what fixed the whole unit itself. So, again, it's working great, no problems at all, and thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.